Shinobi, Shinoba. This is Sega Masters. That's right, folks. It's another visit from those ancient assassins turned pop culture icons known as ninjas. In fact, the title of today's game, Shinobi, is literally another name for ninja and means stealth. It's also the name of one of Sega's more beloved franchises, one that lasted well into the Sonic era. And today we're looking at the home version of the debut entry in the series. Yes, it's been a while, but Sega is once again leaning on ports from their arcade line to sell their console. Though it's not really all that surprising that Sega would want a few conversions of their coin-op hits to bolster their Master System lineup for the critical 1988 holiday season. This action platformer introduces us to Sega's resident ninja, Joe Musashi, who's on a mission to bring down a terrorist group known as Zed, aka the Ring of Five, after they've taken the children of the world's leaders hostage. Being the good guy shinobi he is, Joe takes it upon himself to rescue the kids and serve some ninja justice to this motley crew. Now when one thinks of Sega's arcade lineup during the mid to late 1980s, what most likely comes to mind is Yu Suzuki's series of flashy superscalar arcade cabinets, with its elaborate setups and mind-blowing presentations that make the experience feel more like a ride than a gaming session. However, it's easy to forget that Sega was putting out more traditional arcade fare during this time as well, including Shinobi, which was clearly made to cash in on the ninja craze of the time. Crafted by Yutaka Sagano and running on Sega's System 16 hardware, the game made its debut in 1987 and was a smash hit for the company, quickly receiving home conversions for the various computer platforms, as well as a no-brainer port for their own home console. Sega would also continue the Shinobi saga through a number of sequels, though mainly on their consoles from the Master System all the way to the Saturn. Shinobi even enjoyed a brief revival on the PlayStation 2. The Master System version largely plays identically to the arcade original, though this conversion makes a few minor yet important changes. Joe Musashi treks through each horizontally scrolling stage searching for the kidnapped youngsters to rescue while taking out the thugs, ninjas, and other foes in his path. Your unlimited supply of shuriken can cut your aggressors down from a distance, and you can fight in close quarters with your ninja kick or a melee weapon. Most levels also have an upper or lower path, and Joe can leap back and forth between them with his ninja agility. The captured kids are strewn throughout the level, in plain view no less, and even stranger, one touch sends them flying off the screen, hopefully to safety. It's not mandatory to save the little ones to complete the level like it is in the arcade version. You simply have to reach the end of the block alive. However, it is worth your time since each child you rescue rewards you with a power-up, such as stronger long-range projectiles and short-range melee weapons including swords and nunchucks. After you complete the level, if you rescued a certain child, you get to enter a first-person bonus stage that made it over from the coin-op. This brief yet challenging intermission is basically a shooting gallery minigame, with you flinging your shuriken at the green and blue ninjas coming into the screen trying to leap towards you plank by plank. Allowing just one ninja to get right in your face will cause you to fail the stage, but successfully gunning all of them down will reward you with one stock of ninjutsu magic that can be used under certain circumstances. Either way, it's off to the next area for more ninja action. In between stages, this map screen charts your progress through each mission and displays a mugshot of the boss awaiting you at the end. Granted, the gameplay in Shinobi is not all that different from your average belt scroller, just mostly making your way from point A to point B and taking out anything that crosses your path, especially the kamikaze troops mindlessly rushing at you. At the same time, Shinobi attempts to change up the standard action formula by having many of your foes actually utilize a few defensive tactics, such as crouching and shooting at you from behind cover, ambushing you from above or below, or even using shields to block your projectiles. In other words, dispatching some of these baddies actually requires a bit of strategy, often waiting for the defenses to drop before striking, and even taking a cautious approach to each environment. Thankfully, the card omits the timer from the original version, allowing you to proceed through these gauntlets at a methodical pace. Another major change is the home version does away with the one-hit death from the arcade by granting you a life bar that enables you to take several hits before perishing, and is replenishing or even extended by rescuing the kids. These two tweaks help the core arcade action feel slightly more at home on the console. Each mission concludes with you finally confronting the Z lieutenant you've been chasing after, for example this giant armored ninja known as Ken-O. And obviously you need to find a way to survive this battle and strike their weak spot enough times to bring them down. If you successfully outlast your opponent, Joe can signal the completion of his mission by stamping his fallen foe's photo in victory. Then you head off to the next mission, looking to catch up with the next member of the Ring of 5 on your hit list. And that's really all there is to Shinobi. 5 missions of 3 to 4 parts each for a total of 19 stages, culminating in a duel to the death with the leader of Z himself, the Masked Ninja. Sega's cart does an excellent job of bringing the arcade action to the console mostly intact, though there's no extra levels or any other console exclusive bonuses such as found in certain arcade conversions on the NES. Other than the aforementioned tweaks, this is pretty much a straight up port and not much more than that. The audio and visuals do a solid job of mimicking the coin-up, though you're left feeling Sega could have done a bit better after what we've seen in previous Master System cartridges. Only one of the arcade's main background tunes made it into this port and is used for every level except boss fights, but overall the catchy music adds a nice oriental flavor to the gameplay without getting repetitive. The audio is backed up by some decent sound effects, including the always satisfying clash of metal on metal. The graphics, on the other hand, are a noticeable downgrade from the original's sharp visuals. The colorful backgrounds are nothing special but do their job for the most part, offering a nice selection of environments with very little missing from the arcade original. However, the scenery in this second part of Mission 2 is confusing, as it makes you think you're in some creature's belly instead of the interior of a ship. Despite the reduction in size, the decently animated characters do resemble their coin-up counterparts. Too bad Joe doesn't actually wear the ninja mask as shown on the title screen, and in fact looks more like Solid Snake's distant cousin than a ninja. Even with the elimination of one-hit deaths and time limits from the coin-up, Shinobi still maintains its arcade high difficulty level, which is manageable with some practice and memorization. The mostly responsive controls use a standard NES-style layout, which makes them easy to understand and lets you pull off some slick moves, such as crawling forward underneath projectiles. Nonetheless, gamers may get annoyed with a few glaring issues that add a bit of unnecessary frustration. For starters, when you die, you begin your next life back at the beginning of the level and without any of your power-ups, not even your health bar extensions. You can find yourself barely getting past a tough area, only to perish from a lucky shot when your health bar is empty and having to struggle through that same segment again in a severely weakened state. This is especially troublesome as you travel deeper into the game, since more and more enemies come flying at you, including ninja that take more than one hit to slay. At least any kids you saved in your previous life don't need to be rescued again, but it also means you can't power back up when you need to. Another issue is actually using your hard-earned ninja magic from the bonus stages. Since the Master System gamepad only has 2 buttons as opposed to the 3 buttons in the arcade cabinet, Sega came up with a complicated method which makes using the magic more trouble than it's worth. You can only access your spells after slaying 10 enemies in a stage, then you must push button 1 while holding down button 2. The spells are helpful in clearing out your foes, such as freezing time and summoning a bunch of clones, but you won't really miss them if you choose not to go through the effort to unleash them. You can't even use your magic during the boss fights like you could in the coin-up version, and you'll wish it was available when you face the notoriously frustrating Mandara boss at the end of the 3rd mission. You don't get to actually fight him unless you first knock out these statues that guard him while trying to force you backward into an electric barrier. And unless you happen upon the proper strategy to accomplish this task and are sufficiently powered up, you may never even see the boss himself. Shinobi really cranks the cheapness up from the 4th mission on, including a few areas that require precision jumping across bottomless pits. Unfortunately, Joe can't leap very far, often forcing you to attempt your jump right at the edge of the ledges to make it across while hoping nothing knocks you backwards into the pit. Sadly, you don't get any continues once you lose your last life, depriving you of the chance to practice each stage and boss fight until you perfect them. Thankfully, a level select cheat is available to let you experience the later stages of the game. Most confoundingly, should you do defeat the final masked ninja boss at the end of the game, there's no ending sequence at all. You just get the usual game over, then it's back to the title screen without any sort of coda to this ninja story. All that hard work with no satisfying reward. All in all, Shinobi has its annoying flaws and shortcomings, and it is admittedly overshadowed by its superior sequels on the Genesis. Yet even with its issues, it still ends up being a first-class cart for the Master System. One of the few arcade ports Sega managed to pull off for their 8-bit console. The game is tough, but its warts can be overcome with enough persistence, and its fun, old-school arcade action manages to keep you hooked, even if you never played the arcade original. Definitely check this game out.